Hey everyone, a video came to my attention not too long ago where an LGBT activist asked a question which I think deserves to be answered. Unfortunately, I haven't heard any good answers. I think it deserves to be answered in a way that definitively puts LGBT in perspective. Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of nastiness, a lot of monstrous acts destroying other people, and I think it's quite a shame. But let's just go into this part. So, LGBT activist asked Ben Carson, "Do you think I chose to be gay?" Which is a good question, but not in the context that she gave it, and obviously she did not want an answer. As you watch, just take a look.
And took some heat last night from a person who showed up at his town hall meeting in New York, Staten Island. It followed an interview that Carson gave last March in which he said being gay was a choice. Well, he later apologized, but those words came back to him last night as he was posing for pictures with supporters.
Do you think I chose to be gay?
Did you choose to be gay?
Yeah, do you think I chose to be gay?
That's a long conversation.
Alright, so he says that's a long conversation, which is exactly right, and this was not the appropriate forum for that. You can't give the discussion that it deserves like this. And I want you to notice that she was trying this fake smile this entire time. She was actually watching, almost stalking, really watching from behind this person that Ben Carson's trying to greet, and basically just meeting people and taking pictures with people. And she goes and brings this anyhow. And I want you to notice her reaction after he says, "That's a long conversation," which he's totally right on.
That's a long conversation. That's
Say
not
cheese.
a yes or no answer.
I think you're full.
Alright, look at that. With a smile, or at least a fake smile, she says, "I think you're full of it." No, she didn't say it. But, so, I mean, obviously she didn't want an answer. She wasn't trying to further any intellectual conversation, any kind of, I don't know, anything productive. That was complete attack with a smile. Fake. I don't know. It looked completely fake to me. Anyway, you don't say someone's full of it with a smile like that. Anyhow, but the question does deserve to be answered, and so I'm going to actually answer it, even though she did not want an answer. If she did, she would have chosen a better place, a better time, and she would have been a lot more sincere than just saying he's full of it. So, alright, just the two choices of being gay, as I see it, are one in the moment, where you choose gay actions. And she's obviously allowed herself to be choosing bad actions, or I call them bad because they are gay actions. So that's her first choice, and absolutely that is completely 100% conscious choice, because she is acting on her feelings. Now, so what about the feelings? Is being gay, the feelings of being gay or having the attraction to the same gender, is that a choice? Now I would say, again, yes, to a degree. To a degree that she probably does not realize. If she had realized either of those, she wouldn't have asked that question. So, within all of our DNA, it is undisputed that we have both the male and the female characteristics. And that is because of a certain chromosome, which we call the X or Y chromosome that would be present, that those characteristics show themselves. And in some cases, a very small percentage of the population, they don't necessarily show themselves exactly right, but in most cases they do. So within our DNA, within her body, exists the chromosomes for being gay, for being straight, or for being bi, or being pretty much anything. It's all in her DNA. And the same in Ben Carson's. So, did she choose to have those parts of her DNA express themselves in her leanings towards, I'd imagine, other females, because she seems to be wanting to represent that. And I would say yes again, but not the way she might think. So, as we're growing up and we have psychological development, our brains, basically they develop in such a way as to guide the way that the hormones and everything in our body is regulated and running. Some of that guidance, some of that direction happens at the subconscious level. It happens at levels below our conscious level, and so we don't have a whole lot of control on that. That's also widely accepted. there's no point of contention in that fact either. And so my contention is that within all of us, we have the feelings to be attracted to either gender. Now, the choice of being attracted to that gender can happen at the conscious level, where we experiment and we entertain certain ideas at crucial times in our lives when we're developing, and then the brain makes those connections, and then those parts of our DNA become engaged. And of course, if we don't engage those kinds of thinking in our minds, then that does not happen until later, until we do engage those parts of thinking in our minds. So then we have that feeling of attraction, and so what is it attracted to? And there are a few things that I guess deviate the normal mind into what we call abnormal psychology, where the brain does not think like most brains think. So you got these people in the population who go out and they have extreme kinds of experiences and so forth. They'll have hallucinations, they'll have split personalities and all these other things that we call abnormal psychology. They'll have homicidal tendencies and so forth, simply because the brain is not wired the way it should. It's developed incorrectly. And so, in one of those, I would contend, would be being gay. And I believe that happens because of how we develop as a child. When those crucial bonds, those crucial connections are being formed in the brain, we're either severely impacted or stressed by the opposite gender, so that we have a strong negative feeling towards opposite gender. In that case, I think it's pretty universally accepted also that anybody that has strong negative feelings towards somebody has a difficult time being turned on by that person. Hence, you get marriages that fail because the spouses, they don't like each other anymore, so they don't want to do anything intimate with each other, and then boom, it falls apart. Very widely accepted. And so obviously, if you're turned off to the opposite gender, you might entertain or experiment or fantasize or simply just really like the same gender, because you've met people that are really awesome, and you don't have another connection. You don't already have in your brain an allowance for a connection to the opposite gender. So my theory is that then the connection happens to the same gender. There are those who are just really, really horny, so that connection can happen quite easily. They can be horny to everything, just be bi, or horny to even animals. It happens, and again, those connections, those that arouse on everything, abnormal psychology, and yes, it can happen starting at an early age. And I think even with being aroused by children and so forth, all abnormal psychology, and I believe that in the development process of the brain, it does actually make a connection to wanting to be, I guess, thinking romantically of that age group if it was with children. All monstrous activities in my mind, all absolutely disgusting, wrong to nature, but it can happen. Now I want to address the part about feelings towards gays versus feelings towards their lifestyle. So obviously you can tell that I see the expressions of intimacy and romance and feelings of attraction towards the same gender, towards animals, towards children, as being all very monstrous, very ugly, very counter to nature itself, an affront to nature, in violation of God's greatest law, is just absolute abomination. And I can go into why in a little bit, but the important thing is that it is possible to feel strong feelings towards people, or I should say towards behaviors, without feeling strong feelings about people's character. So when I look at a gay, like even this one who wanted to destroy Carson in front of everybody, and not even really allow any chance for a good discussion, I don't have any feelings of anger, hate, fear, homophobic, any kind of fear towards gays or anything like that. I don't have any fears towards her or any other gays. I've seen a lot of monstrous acts, and it's absolutely repulsive and awful that they do this kind of thing. I've seen them tear apart people, careers. Well, you've seen it in the news. People being fined hundreds of thousands of dollars, even millions of dollars, and I'm going to show you in this next article, just for not respecting someone's gender affinity or whatever. It's absolutely wrong, but I don't hate them. So that has to be understood. This is, it's not even necessarily a fear or a hate of their, as we call it, lifestyle maybe, but it's a recognition that what they're doing is an affront to nature. And I can talk about that in just a moment, if it's not already plainly obvious. Let's go into this article. January 8th, a few days later, this article comes out where it says basically if somebody misgenders a gender-confused person, which is somebody who thinks they're a different gender than the way they are anatomically, prior to surgeries and other gross deformations of the natural, beautiful natural body, they can risk a $250,000 fine just for not using the preferred pronoun. This right here is a gross affront to nature. $250,000 because you used the wrong pronoun even though it's the right pronoun, but people are trying to convince you it's not the right pronoun. It's absolute madness. $250,000 for saying a word like he or she. I mean, shoot, I've heard people call the same, call a man a woman, say you're a girl and stuff like that. You don't get $250,000 fines for that. Shoot, this is the jackpot for anybody that wants to advance the LGBT movement. It's absolutely disgusting. Oh my gosh. This picture, it is an affront to nature. Whatever. Oh my gosh. I don't know how people stand to this. I don't know how the Supreme Court of the United States has not been rocked by the entire population from what they did with gay marriage. It's an affront. So these kinds of people are now raising our children during the developmental stages of their lives to make them something that is affront to nature, is absolutely wrong according to nature's laws and God's laws. But now we're going to allow them to have marriage and kids and raise them as if, shoot, I remember a story. This guy pretends to be an 8-year-old girl, he was like a 24-year-old man, and he's doing this in a household that's of course run by gays, where the kids in that gay household are required to treat that man as though he was an 8-year-old girl. I'll tell you what, if you want to confuse kids, shoot, call the sun black. It's the same thing. There's I don't know. It seems absolutely obvious to me when you teach kids that wrong is right, when you teach them that black is white, and vice versa. You teach them untruths. You teach them lies. You're going to mess them up. You're going to mess up their psychology. You're going to create abnormal psychology. You're going to create people that are messed up in their brains. They're going to be committing all kinds of heinous things probably when their brains can't cope with all the stresses of things being contrary to what they're being led to believe. We're at the beginning, the tip of the iceberg of this is absolutely gross. Further down in the article, it talks about how men are being allowed to use women's restrooms if they just say that they identify as a girl, and vice versa. Absolutely an affront to nature, and I don't even know how women would stand up for the men going into their bathrooms. I'll tell you what, a girl goes into a man's bathroom, alright, we got other things in our mind, but it is not that they are a man. It is not that they are a man. It's that we're interested in other things, if you know what I mean. I think that's pretty obvious. So I do encourage you to read this article. Matt Walsh, he's got great ideas, and he talks over this particular issue, gender-neutral restroom. It is atrocious. Man, there's nothing more monstrous than this. This right here, I don't get excited about a whole lot of things, but LGBT is probably, it's one of two things that I really get excited about. I should say really get appalled about. So yeah, just take a look at this article, and I hope this helped a little bit. Let me just cover why it is that is an affront to nature itself. Is not completely obvious. Besides the fact of the physical aspects of needing a man and a woman to make kids, there's something even on a more basic level than that, which is to say, and I will stand 100% by this, women are very different than men. And I'm not just talking about she likes Barbies and he likes trucks. And that's all, I guess I would say, part of society, because I got girls, they like trucks, alright? They like Barbies, they like trucks, they like everything, okay? So if we raise them to like one thing, that's fine. But I'm talking about their nature. Below all of the interest, below all of the pink and the blue that we put on them, there is something intrinsic in their very character, in the very who they are, that says that they are men and women. And I don't care if their voice is high or low, if they tend to act scruffy looking, I mean they tend to act, macho or whatever. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about inside of them, their nature, their way of thinking, and so forth. Now, I'm not saying that nature can't be messed up, and I have seen it messed up. I have seen them trying to be the other gender and trying to act that way and really just screwing up the way they are, and it looks like Frankenstein to me when they act like a man acts like he's a woman. It's just it is totally us recreating nature in our own ugly image. But anyhow, there are a lot of things I can go on about that, but the biggest thing I want to emphasize is that children need a mother and a father, because the children in their development, in their psychology, they need to have a fully functional and participant, a man and woman, in the marriage. And if either one cuts out, even if it's a straight marriage and the husband's just not there for the kids, if either one of them cut out for any reason, the children cannot develop the way they need to. They cannot get the balance of perspective, the balance of the characteristics and understanding for each of the genders. They cannot develop any of that. And if they can't develop that, their odds of being attracted to the other gender is going to go down. Their odds of being able to develop correctly in their brain is going to greatly diminish. The odds of being successful, we've already seen the countless studies of children that don't have a mother and a father. Their odds of success in life are just drastically reduced. It's just a shame. There's so many reasons why children that don't have a mother and a father that are active and positive and good in their lives, and to be honest, I know that's most of the world, but why make it harder for them and bring in gay marriage to thoroughly mess up any chances of success? At least with a man and a woman in the picture, there's a chance. But there's obviously more we need to do with bringing in religion, morality, ethics, spirituality, kindness, unconditional forgiveness, basic goodness into the lives of individuals. But that's another subject, and an important subject, definitely strongly related, because I think it shows when you look to the straight marriage and you see not a whole lot of success, understand that there are a lot of bad things going against it that really do need to be addressed if you want to see what could a straight marriage do for children. We don't usually see that. It's something I wish that the world could see better. Anyhow, thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something. It all comes down to a summary. The development of the brain simply needs to have the right conditions in order to develop the right identification of gender and the right connections to romantic feelings toward the opposite gender. And if it doesn't have that, I do believe that later in life that can be developed. I do believe it can be developed, but it's definitely something that you have to focus. You have to understand what's at play, what negative things are getting in the way of the one way, and what other things are confusing the mind to think the other way. So it's definitely something more for a spiritual advisor or a psychologist, though I can't say that. I can definitely say that there are plenty of people that are both bishops and psychologists that do not understand the process of the brains and its developments and connections. So yeah, you're definitely gonna have to find someone that's really good to be able to help you work through those issues. Anyhow, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy this. Hope you learned something, and look forward to any comments or feedback that you have in the comments below. Thanks. Bye.